were longevity practices for a longer, more vibrant life beyond gym memberships and juice cleanses. Gain Without Pain, the Happiness Handbook for Healthcare Professionals, touches on a proven path toward personal resilience that can be implemented by anyone, anywhere in just a few minutes a day. Joining us to share how we can live a longer and more joyous life is author, Stanford University physician, and mindfulness expert. We have Dr. Greg Hammer. Hello, welcome to the show.
Hi, Desiree. Great to be with you.
Yes, and I like this topic we're talking about. So, if we want to live a longer life and you emphasize what you call the tripod of health, what are those top three pillars?
Well, the three pillars of physical wellness are sleep, exercise, and nutrition. And, certainly this is nothing new. And I try to break things down into simple forms. And, practicing good sleep hygiene is not very complicated. Exercise, we could talk about the different types of exercise: cardio, resistance training, core training, and balance, because as we get older, losing our balance and falling is a major cause of morbidity and mortality. And as far as what we eat, we have examples from around the world in these so-called blue zones of how people 100 tend to eat, and that's called the Mediterranean diet. So these are relatively simple principles, so not difficult to learn, maybe more difficult to implement.
Yeah, and you mentioned blue zones. Could you expand on that a little bit more and teach us about that?
Sure. Blue zones are areas around the world, Desiree, where there are about 5 times more people than in general Western countries that live to the age of over 100. And there are several keys to looking at their culture and the way they live and why they live so long. And it's not genetic. If they move people from Sardinia, Okinawa, Ikaria in Greece, these are 3 of the blue zones. If they move to the United States, then they and their offspring don't live longer than the rest of the local community. But in their own community, they're very integrated into their families, so they're continuing to be in community. They tend to continue to grow and learn, and they're serving each other. So these are 3 keys, and their diet is, again, what we call the Mediterranean diet: low in carbohydrates, especially sugars and simple carbs, high in healthy oils like fish oil, oil from nuts, seeds, avocados. They tend to be active. They tend not to retire. In other words, they stay active throughout their lives generally. They have a positive attitude, and this partially comes from being in community with their families. So these are notes that we can all take and important principles by virtue of which to live.
Yeah, and I wanted to switch gears from physical health to mental health and kind of spiritual health as well. Can you discuss the importance of taking care of those as well?
Well, Dr. John Kabat-Zinn, who's really the founder of what we call mindfulness, defined mindfulness, and I would define happiness, both mental and spiritual, as being aware of the present moment on purpose, non-judgmentally. And being present, the present moment is where happiness resides. If you think of all your happiness moments, you were present. You weren't worried about yesterday or tomorrow. You're walking through a forest, appreciating the soft forest floor, the light filtering through the canopy of the trees above. You're connected. You don't feel as though you're an isolated, separate little self, but also you're right there in the present moment. And the reason we have to do that on purpose is because our brains are wired to be relatively distracted by things in the past and the future, and we have this negativity bias. So we tend to generate a lot of fear and anxiety when we fixate on the future, and low self-esteem and depression when we fixate on the past. So being present, having a plan, basically a mindfulness meditation program like GAIN, and learning how to be non-judgmental. That's the N in GAIN. So these are, I think, the basic principles of mental and spiritual wellness and happiness.
Greg, do you think I feel like we hear these terms about, you got to eat healthy, make sure you get your sleep, and sometimes it's easier said than done. How can we make sure that we're implementing these in our lives instead of kind of shrugging it off and putting it off to the side like so many people do?
Well, I think it's funny because it's January. A lot of people have these New Year's resolutions that, this year I'm going to focus on my sleep, exercise, and nutrition. The problem is that you tend to keep those directives at arm's length, right? It's easy to put off, till tomorrow eating well. You go to a restaurant, they have great dessert, so you eat all this sugary and fatty so-called comfort food, and you put off your New Year's resolution for another day. I think it's really important to be focused on today. So I would call those intentions the I in GAIN, GAIN. I think we should focus on the present and focus on today. And so when you get up in the morning, if you can manage a 3-minute mindfulness meditation, like the GAIN practice only takes 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Focus on today. Focus on how you're going to really work on getting some more movement into your life today.
Yes.
And exercise and what you're going to eat today.
I'm going to take that message. I'm going to focus on today. Greg Hammer, thank you so much. And for more wellness and mindful tips, visit greghammermd.com.